Time spares no one, and over the years, our views, values, and priorities change. When a woman is over 70, the question arises whether she needs a relationship with a man as much as before. Are the dreams of romance and love still alive? Today, we will hear frank answers from three wise women whose lives are full of experience and difficult decisions. They are ready to share what they really feel and think. Does a woman over 70 need a man? Let's find out. Margot sits by the window, carefully working over her knitting needles. The knitting floats in her hands. She is 72, and as she says herself, she had a wonderful marriage, full of love, understanding, and most importantly, respect. When she lost her husband, it was like a hurricane that swept her off her feet, knocked out the ground beneath her feet. The children were already living in different cities. Everyone had their own lives, their own families, and she found herself alone in an empty apartment, filled only with silence. But a year passed, and Margot began to realize that the longing was gradually disappearing, giving way to silence, but a different one, calm and peaceful. She recalls, in those days, many friends advised her to find someone new, to start socializing with men again. "Why would I do that?" she replied with a slight laugh. She didn't want to fill the void with just anyone. She needed to find herself, to feel peace, to restore her inner harmony. For the first time, she tried to get back to her usual life. She sought solace in books and walks, but it didn't help. Every day seemed long and cold, and loneliness became heavier every evening. But one day a realization came to her, as if an unknown voice told her, "Don't look for someone to fill the void. Find meaning in the loneliness itself." So she began to truly enjoy her time. Knitting became more than just a hobby for her. It was her way of creating warmth, a way of caring for her grandchildren, even if they were far away. She started taking painting classes and went for walks to the park every morning, no matter the weather. She learned to find joy in solitude and in the silence that is now her faithful companion. Margot confesses that despite all the entreaties of her loved ones, she no longer seeks a new love or relationship. She realized that after so many years spent with the only man, no other man can replace her memories. Every day she whispers to her husband in pictures that all is well and she is doing fine. Her life has taken on a new meaning. It's enough for her to know that she lived a happy life with a man who truly loved her. And in those moments when she talks to the photo, her heart fills with warmth and the feeling that he's still around. But that doesn't mean she doesn't miss him. Sometimes, especially in the evenings, when the house is quiet and there's complete silence all around, the feeling of loss comes to her again. Is it really possible to live without someone who knew you for so long? She asks herself, but then picks up her spokes, takes a deep breath, and with a slight smile, tells herself that she can. She has learned to be strong, and even though her life now doesn't include anyone around her, she feels that her heart has enough of the love it used to have. Margot believes, in fact, a woman after 70 doesn't need a new man if she has already had true love in her life. When Margot finishes her story, a light, calm sparkle shines in her eyes. She smiles, as if reliving all that has been and all that is. But next to her, her old friend Charlotte is sitting across from her, and she has a completely different expression on her face. 75 years old, 3 marriages, many fulfilling years. Her eyes sparkle with life, and her voice is so strong that it is immediately clear that we are looking at a person who has not given up, who has not become a shadow of herself. She begins to speak, and in her words, you can hear the confidence that only a long journey of search, triumph, and loss can give. You know, Charlotte says, as if addressing everyone and no one at the same time, I never thought that life could be boring or empty unless you want it to be. They say that at 75, it's time for a woman to settle down, to find silence. But I know that silence is not for me. She laughs and spreads her hands. There is a fire in her voice and eyes that attracts attention and does not let go. When her first husband left, she lost ground under her feet, thought life was over. But a few years passed and she met her second. Then, for the second time, she truly believed in love, not like in her youth, but a realized adult love with support and care. But as Charlotte says, fate doesn't like to give it easy. Her second husband, with whom she so hoped to meet old age, left as suddenly as the first. So what? Is that a reason to give up? She lifts her head, her gaze full of challenge. Yes, I've been hurt. Yes, there were times when I thought I'd never love anyone again. But life goes on, and I'm a person who just can't be alone. And she found love again. She lived with her third husband for many more years, sharing with him not only the house, but also everything that had accumulated in her heart. Together, they experienced so many joys and difficulties that now every meeting with men for her is not just a conversation. It is a reminder that life is full of warmth and love, unless you're afraid to let it back in. Now that her last husband is gone a few years ago, Charlotte hasn't stopped socializing with men. She enjoys their company, their attention, and she doesn't see anything strange about it. She continues to meet up with old friends. She has a few faithful beaux with whom, as she laughs, they drink tea and talk about life. For her, it's more than just friendship. It's that feeling that she is still needed and interesting. Does a woman need a man at that age? Repeats Charlotte, reflecting. Of course she does. Let it just be a man who calls you in the evening and asks, "How are you?" A man with whom you can talk about anything in the world, whether it's love or just the latest novel we've read. We're still women after all, and age is no barrier to that. Her eyes sparkle, and a satisfied smile plays on her lips. Charlotte is like a living proof that even at an old age you can live your life without shying away from your feelings and desires. And her story is like a warm light for those who fear loneliness, for those who think that age takes away our right to be loved and needed. Margot and Charlotte finish their stories, and a thoughtful silence hangs in the room. The third woman, Lily, watches her friends in silence, as if gathering her thoughts. 80 years old, and her entire life has been filled with friendship and respect, not passionate romance or long relationships. She has always been someone who looked at life a little on the outside, maintaining her independence and peace of mind. She circles the room, lingering on old photographs on the wall, and finally begins to speak in a calm, measured way, as if each word she says weighs a lifetime. A lot of people don't understand me, she begins, and maybe they never have. Friends, co-workers, even family always asked why I wasn't looking for a man, trying to get married, and I always knew I needed something else. Lily pauses, as if remembering the distant times when she was only 20, and then, just like now, she would not have a special outlook on life. She tells us that She has always valued friendship more than romance. There were men in her life, but they became more like close friends than romantic partners. Romantic partners. I've always thought love is wonderful, but friendship is more reliable, she says, looking out the window, beyond which it's already dark. For her, it's a simple truth. Relationships should be, above all, human, based on respect, on mutual understanding. She's not against men, but she doesn't seek them out specifically. Now she has a few friends with whom she spends evenings talking about life, remembering the past, and she is happy with this company. She doesn't need promises. She doesn't need loud words or affections that make her feel heavy at heart. She loves lightness and sincerity, and that's what she's found in friendship. Yeah, I sometimes think, what would it be like to have someone special in my life? Maybe I would feel differently. But I've always known that loneliness for me is not emptiness, but freedom, she says softly, almost in a whisper, as if revealing her deepest secret. Lily explains that it is this feeling of freedom and peace that has become the most precious thing to her. She can decide when and with whom she wants to socialize, what she wants to do, and how she wants to spend her days. Maybe it's not for everyone, she adds, looking at her friends, but for me, it's the most precious gift. I don't regret a single day I've lived, and I'm grateful to fate for every moment of silence I can share with myself. Her story sounds different. There is no fire or passion in her words like Charlotte's, but a deep calmness, maturity, and wisdom. Lily recognizes that there will always be room for friendship and respect in her life, and that is enough for her. It's like she's at peace with herself, enjoying every moment, every conversation, and she doesn't need anything more. Her friends listen and remain silent, feeling the strength that comes from her. Her story is the story of a person who learned to find happiness in herself. And now looking at her, it seems that this is also a worthy and beautiful path. When our heroines finish their stories, there is silence in the room, full of respect and admiration for these strong, wise women, each of whom has lived a unique path filled with trials, joy, losses, and discoveries. In different ways, they answer the question that concerns many. Do we need a man and love in adulthood? Their answers are more than just words. They are a reflection of their values and life experiences. Their stories show that after 70 years old, each of us may have a different understanding of happiness and peace. Someone needs to feel love and attention. Someone needs friendship and support. And someone needs solitude and mental harmony. And there is no right or wrong way. So let's think about, what do we want? Perhaps for someone the answer of our heroines will be a revelation. Someone will recognize themselves in their stories, and someone will look at relationships and their own dreams in a different way. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Do you think a woman needs a man and love in adulthood? Does peace of mind become more important than anything else, or should there always be room for new interactions in life? Thank you for being with us, for listening to these sincere and profound stories. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos, where together we continue to search for answers to the most important questions about the life of love and wisdom. See you on the channel.